I'm going to show you an image, and I want you to comment down below the first thing you think of. Ready? Go. Chances are you probably had some strong thoughts come up, and pretty quickly at that. I'm not a betting man, most of the time, but if I was, I'd bet you thought of some choice words. I bet you most likely did not, however, consider that the water temple from the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is just a big metaphor for life. You might already be thinking I'm crazy and that I'm reading way too much into a video game, but I would say, yeah, absolutely, I am crazy, and yes, I do love reading into games a little too much. But if you give me your attention till the end of the video, I promise you, the connection between your life and the water temple will probably shock you. So a couple weeks ago, I made a video describing the connection between the plot of Ocarina of Time and your life, how you are the hero of time. I'll segue us into that video at the end, but this theory actually fits right in line with this new idea that the Ocarina of Time water temple is one big metaphor for life. Ever heard the phrase, art imitates reality? Well, that's the saying in practice. Some of you are already like, hey, whoa dude, I hated the water temple, I struggled with it forever. Are you implying that I struggle in life? Trust me, I don't know anything about your life. I came to this epiphany while playing the game and looking at my own life, and then I imagine that there are probably other people out there that can relate with the same thing, or similar examples. Enough dancing around the topic, let's get into it. Let's look at the easy gimme examples first. I think it goes without saying the water temple is viewed by many as one of, if not the most infamously difficult dungeons in the Zelda series. And even if you don't find it hard, you should be able to agree that it is still relatively time consuming and repetitive. Having to take the iron boots off and then put them on, and then take them off and put them on and take them on, you know, rinse and repeat, you get the deal. Thank goodness they fixed that in the Ocarina of Time 3D version. It's also very obvious that if not all the time, most of the time, life can be pretty difficult. Sometimes life is dumb, it's stupid, and it doesn't seem to make sense. Sort of like when you get all the way across the dungeon and you find a room you forgot or you haven't made it to yet, only to be blocked behind a locked door and, well, now you have no keys. You check your map, and next thing you know, you're completely lost. I'd imagine the water temple had us all in a chokehold like this at some point. It's a pretty easy comparison between the two, but we won't stop there because lots of games have hard or confusing parts. That doesn't necessarily make them analogies to life. One thing that I believe sets this water temple apart from other tough dungeons is its layout. What makes it harder than any other dungeon, in my opinion, is the fact that it's designed with a vertical layout as opposed to building outwards. Maybe this is more of a personal problem I have and not so much of the majority, but if you take this temple, any vertical tower in any 2D Zelda game where you can fall down and lose progress, like the one in Link to the Past, or even the water temple in Twilight Princess, I didn't really enjoy that one either. You'll find that they're all kind of difficult. Just like life, it's hard to climb upward, and there's always a threat of falling down and losing progress. In the water temple, it's not necessarily hard to move up and down, but it is easy to get lost, to lose sight of your objective, and easy to get sidetracked or distracted by new paths, rooms, or the constant reminder that you're going to need more keys. And another thing, something that we mentioned earlier that makes the non-3D versions of the game a pain in the old anus hole, the iron boots. Iron boots are a pain to take off and on and off, and yeah, we already did this bit. But the fact that you have to even put the boots on in the first place, now walk with me here for a second, this might be a small stretch, but it makes sense, I promise. When you put the boots on, you have to sink, and you sink downwards, kind of like life. I'm sure at some point we've all felt like we can't help but sink down in life. And in the water temple, a lot of seconds, heck, even minutes, are spent doing this. It leaves you looking ahead towards what's next in your journey, or looking back on what you previously got to do and might have had fun with. Just like with life. The only problem here is that whether you're looking in the past or ahead to the future, you're not currently focused on your current objective. When you forget to do things in life, or just don't plan ahead properly, it can leave you lost, or in endless loops and cycles, feeling like you're doing the same things over and over and over again, kind of like you're stuck in a hamster wheel, like you're just circling around the water temple looking for that one key to progress forward. Now, here's where I'm going to intentionally steer us off course a tad, if I may. I don't want to get everyone depressed talking about life struggles and water temple struggles in the same video. I'd like to give a little strategy for when you're feeling stuck in the temple, or in real life. And you can apply this to other games or life situations that you might be struggling with. It can be easy to get overwhelmed when you're doing the same thing over and over again, and you're just plain stuck. It's much more difficult to be efficient and productive when you get into these negative mindsets. you're probably much likelier to get even farther in a rut. The best advice I can give, and what I practice personally, is to just take a step back from the game, and even take a step back from whatever life project or situation you're in, and take a deep breath. Or take a couple. I might go outside and get some fresh air, or I'll call a friend or family member just to chat and get my mind off things. And then I know when I come back with a focused mind, I usually have much better results, and I can guarantee if you try this out, you'll probably experience the same thing. After all, games are supposed to be fun, and ideally, life should be too. But you're always going to stand more of a chance at enjoying it and having fun when you can give your game or your life your absolute all focus and be content and enjoy where you're at currently. That way, when you get to where you've made progress, you can look at where you're currently at, where you were, and the journey that you've had between the two. Alright, now I think it's time to talk about another big example that ties this temple and life together. The Water Temple's boss. No, not him. Him. Dark Link. You might be asking, who is Dark Link? What is Dark Link? Why is Dark Link? Dark Link is kinda... I guess sort of like Link's evil alter ego. Or Dark Lonk, in the case of this old playthrough I did. I was going to compare him to what Wario is for Mario, or Shadow is for Sonic, but after thinking on it, that's not really completely accurate, as those guys aren't truly evil. They're just more competitive rivals that make things harder for their respective protagonists. They aren't actively trying to end the protagonist's existence or anything like that. Dark Link first appeared in Zelda 2. Ew, I know, right? Yeah, you can check my video out I made last week about that if you're into it. I got some flack from saying I didn't like the game and that it was way different from other Zelda games. Somehow people's defense was that I just suck at the game, which is true. I'm not defending that. But what I never seemed to realize about the Dark Link fight in Ocarina of Time was that his health actually changes relative to your heart amounts. If you have a ton of hearts collected at this point, he's going to be pretty tanky. If you're doing a 3-heart run, well, on the bright side, it'll only take 3 Master Sword attacks to finish him off. Dark Link is a evil reflection of Link himself. All strength, no compassion, and no mercy. Aside from the main man Ganondorf himself, Dark Link has to be one of the most memorable enemies in the Zelda series. It's a shame that most of his battles are short and a little underwhelming, because he could honestly be a really cool villain if treated properly. I guess what you could say is they just need to let Dark Link cook. But in this game in particular, Link has to fight with what is more or less himself. His evil thoughts, his negativity, his ability to destroy as opposed to help. It's pretty self-explanatory. Now listen, I don't know about you guys, but I'm gonna be 100% honest here. I think I fight with myself more than anybody I know. Nobody gets on my nerves more than me. Nobody dislikes me more than me. And nobody stands in my way of my goals and my dreams more than me. What I mean by that, if you aren't tracking, is that I'm my own biggest enemy. Now I wonder if that resonated with anyone. On days where I just want to create awesome videos about my favorite video games, the other me wants to lay on the couch, watch TV, and just play the video games for no purpose. When I have half an hour before work that I could be spending making a thumbnail, brainstorming some video ideas, or anything else productive, the other me would rather doom scroll TikTok. Follow me there, by the way, if you please. When it's a Saturday off and I want to clean house or reorganize my game room, tidy it up, the lazy me would rather DoorDash McDonald's, because even the lazy me is too lazy to drive there and save a few dollars on delivery. I'd go out on a limb and guess some of y'all probably struggle with fighting your lazy thoughts for control too. Heck, why do you think we have pizza delivery, grocery delivery, curbside pickup? We even have those TGI Friday potato skin things at Walmart. When you know if you just go to an actual TGI Fridays and order the damn thing, they'll be like 10 times better. Convenience has changed our society for the good and the bad. I'm not saying you need to go out and start catching your own fish instead of going to Long John Silver's because not hunting your own meal is lazy or anything. But I am saying to reconsider eating at Long John Silver's, because who willingly puts that crap in their body? The last time I ate there 3 years ago, I was waddling around the rest of the day looking like King Zora. We want to be efficient with our time and energy, but it needs to be focus and energy spent getting us closer to those goals we have in mind. Link could save the world, true, but that takes work. What if he just chilled at the farm with Malin his whole life? Or spent all his days bomb-chew bowling? Or maybe even went around selling maps to people? Hey, it may not be saving the world, but someone has to do it. I guess it's sort of like the difference between the saying, work smarter, not harder, And the saying, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Sure, you want to be smart, but you do also need to work hard. Sacrificing hard work for something else isn't smart, it's just laziness. But good thing Link doesn't do that. After you finish off Dark Link in the Water Temple, the rest of the dungeon is usually pretty smooth sailing, and getting the last key or two and defeating the final boss doesn't really take anywhere near the amount of effort that the first half of the dungeon does. Just like with life, if you can overcome your own mental blocks and hurdles, then the rest will mostly feel like a cakewalk. At the beginning of the video, I stated that I wasn't trying to assume anyone's life situations. Trust me, even having played this game like 1,000,002 times, that one elusive Water Temple key always sneaks up on me, like an RKO out of nowhere. This just happened to me last month when I was streaming the game for my birthday, and I challenged myself to beat the whole game in one run. Even being the Ocarina of Time veteran that I am, I somehow glitched to a spot in a room early dungeon with my hookshot, and then I used a key on a door you're not supposed to use until later in the dungeon after you get the long shot. Next thing I know, I had locked myself out of a key for the door in the dungeon, and I wasn't even able to face Dark Link. I was gonna have to reset my whole game for this. But luckily I was on an emulator, so I just adjusted the length of my hookshot to that of a regular long shot, and I finished the dungeon. But even after I went on to defeat Ganondorf and save Hyrule, I can't help but think that Dark Link is probably still in there waiting for me somehow, and I know that there are probably some other examples that could support my argument. Just like there will be some people commenting about, yeah, well this and this makes that not really make sense, and you forgot about this, which totally invalidates your whole point. This was just a little fun thing I wanted to do to hypothesize about a fun idea about one of my least favorite Zelda dungeons. But maybe I did read too much into a Zelda game's Water Temple. Like I said at the beginning of the video, reading too much into video games is just what I do. If you'd like to watch that Ocarina of Time video I mentioned at the beginning of the video, where I talked about how you, yes you watching this video, are the hero of time in your own life, then click the video on screen. Thank you.